Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about RV covers. A question that comes up pretty often from folks, especially new RV owners, is should we buy an RV cover? And since Kim and I now have our trailer parked at our home, as you guys know, they've been following us for a while. We used to have a covered area that we used to park the trailer under that we had for a few years, and unfortunately we no longer have that spot, so the trailer's now at home, and as you can see, no cover on it. So a couple things we're going to try to get through on this video is, number one, should you cover your trailer, and number two, what type of cover should we go with? And so the simple answer to the question is yes. If you do have a trailer and you can afford to do so and you have the means, we would highly recommend that you do cover your trailer. In this particular case, especially if you live in an area with extreme weather. We live in the Northwest, in Oregon to be exact, and so our weather is pretty mild for the most part, but we do get a lot of rain, as you can imagine, and believe it or not, a lot of sun. So this trailer's been sitting out here for a couple months now, just baking in the sun. We've had record heat, 116 degrees on a day in the high hundreds multiple times this year. And so that whole time, this trailer's just been baking out here. And as you can imagine, if you know anything about construction for trailers, most of these are fiberglass. And so what happens is, as those things start to heat up, they start to oxidize, and that's the reason why you see a lot of trailers that tend to get yellow, get a yellow film. And so if you have a pretty expensive investment, do your best to protect it, right? So that's what we're going to do. So even though we've had this stored underneath shelter for a number of years, just a little bit of weather that it does get does cause a lot of the caulking to crack, which just comes with time. But the less protection you have, the easier that's going to be the case. And so with a cover, it's going to help protect it not only from the elements, but also from cracking and things of that nature. So the problem that we've been having with our trailer is that we are near a big tree. And so what ends up happening is when the wind comes, it just kicks a bunch of dirt up on our roof, and so things are getting pretty nasty. So as you can see, we've had to actually tape up some of our skylights because we've gotten a couple leaks that we haven't had a chance to get fixed yet. And that's even with having these covered under a covered area, and we don't even take this out. Usually when we do camp, usually it's in trees, and so we don't even get a lot of sun beating down on it. So we weren't expecting this to happen so quickly, but again, it's just what kind of happens with the elements, right? So by having a cover on the trailer, we're going to be able to have it stored out here for periods of time when we don't use it, because there's months that go by that we don't use it. So I guess the question would be is how often do you use the trailer, right? If you're taking it out every weekend, it's going to be kind of tough to continually have to put on a cover and then take it back off. The other issue would be too is what's the length of your trailer, and do you have somebody to help you? Because ours is about a 24-footer, and I can do this on my own with help from Kim. We can do it together, no issue. But if you had a big motorhome and you have a hard time getting up on the roof and things of that nature, then of course it's not going to be an option for you. But for us, it is an option. So the first thing we're going to do though is get this thing cleaned up, because the last thing we want to do is put a brand new cover on a really dirty trailer. So we're going to do a quick wash of the trailer, let it dry out, and then put on the new cover and then see how that holds up. We're going to clean the exterior. We're going to use some super clean degreaser to try to degrease any of the issues that we have around the trailer. We don't want to get any grease or what have you on the new cover. Going to clean up the tires with again some super clean all-wheel cleaner, and then we have a RV wax that we use, an RV wash wax that tends to work pretty well with this long extension pole that we use, so we can easily wash this at home without any issues. So we'll get this all cleaned up and degreased, get the wheels cleaned and everything, and then we will take a look at it when it's spit shine clean and ready to be installed. So basically with that wheel cleaner, just put it on for 30 seconds. You can already see just a bunch of dirt just coming off the tires. In fact, I think this is maybe the first time we've cleaned these tires, other than with a straight wash, but we've never used any type of tire cleaner on it per se. But let it sit for 30 seconds, rinse it off, good to go. I can think of better ways to spend my time than washing this trailer. This is a good hour. So
If it doesn't take me an hour to put the cover on, which I don't think it will, well then it's worth it, because once I've got that cover on, I'm not going to have to wash this thing again until it's filthy dirty again, which is probably after the winter season. But having to do this multiple times to try to keep this thing clean is not an idea of fun.
Time to get this cover put up. The manufacturer of this cover is RVMasking, and I'll leave a link below. You can find them online. Not sure if it's the best cover out there. $300. I know when we were looking at Camping World for our size trailer, they were anywhere from $450 to $600. So for a cover, we just weren't wanting to spend a whole lot of money. So this here should be hopefully a good, decent fit. Looks like it's your standard canvas top. So we'll let you know once we get it on what we think of the material, how it fits, how easy it is to install, and what have you. And then we'll let you know if we recommend it or not. Like I said, for us, we just need something to protect it from the elements, and not looking for anything fancy. The biggest thing is going to be how easy is it to install, and then also to remove. That's going to be the big thing. All right, so the first step is going to be the fun step, and that's lugging this bad boy up the trailer. It's not too heavy, probably weighs 20 pounds or so, but it'd be a little bit awkward trying to get it up here. Even with the second person, I guess you could go off a ladder, might be the better idea, but I like to live dangerously, so we're going to try to one-hand this thing. All right, so the first step before install is to cover your gutters. They got these little covers, keeps the sharp edges from cutting into the fabric. So we'll do this around all of 4 sides of the gutter and then move on to the installation. All right, so we got the gutter protection on, and so now basically all we're going to do is take the canvas top, unroll it, and then it says, of course, you need to find the front of the cover and then the rear. And so they make it pretty easy to find. When you pop it open, they've got front and rear, and of course I had a 50-50 chance, and I'm the opposite way, so we'll switch around. First impression though is the canvas cover feels pretty nice, actually. For the price, I was expecting to feel a little bit cheaper, but I can tell just from the feel of it that it's probably going to hold up pretty well. Only time will tell, of course, but most of the time with these canvas things like this, there's not a whole lot that can happen to damage these. Especially in Oregon where we live, we don't get extreme weather and extreme cold and what have you, so my gut tells me this should probably last a good few years, hopefully. All right, so getting it pulled down was actually a little bit easier than I thought it would be. It did take 2 of us to do it, but I would suggest that you do it with 2 people, but I'm sure it's something I could have done by myself if I had to. Once we got the front and the rear, then we would just pull it down from the sides.
It's got zips, so you still can access your door when it's covered. So you can just,
really?
Once it's covered,
that's
you
cool.
can just unzip this. Our door is right here, so we'll still be able to get in and out of it while it's fully covered.
What's nice is it comes complete as a kit, and so of course you get the cover, but then you also get straps for strapping it in. Like Kim was mentioning, this can be used for many different types of trailers. It's not a custom fit cover, so if you have a motorhome or what have you that's this size, it'll fit that, or fifth wheel or what have you. The other nice thing too is that it comes with covers for the tires, and that's one of the things that we're really most concerned with not having it covered anymore, is just the wear from the heat and what have you on the tires. We really want to make sure that those last as long as possible without degrading. So, and Kim made a point that maybe we should have ironed it first, but we're not that concerned on what it looks like. And over time, of course, it's never going to be beautiful, but it will as it wears and sits here, I'm sure it'll fix itself. But yeah, having the straps definitely helps, because it was a lot of overhang, but again, it's because our trailer is such a weird shape with the Lancets having that rounded front. So that about does it for our review and overview of the RVMasking RV cover. So we're looking forward to finally having this thing covered. For the price, I mean, I think it's a good deal. I don't know what else anybody would expect from an RV cover. Our suggestion would be get the one that you can afford and be good with it. It's just not something that I feel like we need to be overly concerned with. I can tell just from the material already that it's going to do what we need it to do. It's going to help keep the sunshine off it, which is number one. And then when the rain starts coming here real soon, it's just going to help from preventing any type of leaks up on the roof and what have you, which we've already been dealing with. So,
and especially if you want to get one that's custom fit for your type of trailer, those are definitely going to be more expensive. We said we just went with the universal. We just needed the basics covered.
So we've had this cover on now for a couple weeks. We had some rain and some pretty bad wind for a couple days, which was good to test it. Worked perfect. The one thing that we're going to take this off because we're actually going for Labor Day. We're going up to the Gorge in Washington again for Labor Day weekend. We're going to see how easy it is to take off. And I wanted to mention one other thing that I didn't really talk about much. And one of the negatives about putting a cover on your trailer is that if it does rain, what ends up happening is it's hard for the moisture to escape, and then you end up with mold issues. So that's probably the one major thing. The only thing I can really think of a negative to having a cover, that's probably one of the main ones. And what we didn't mention was this actually has vents that are sewn in, and then inside they've got these holes.
See them.
It's going to help to allow it to vent out, and that way all the moisture can get away from the trailer and hopefully prevent any type of mold issue.
Yeah, and one thing we're going to be taking it on and off because we like to use it in the fall, winter, and spring.
Yeah, it's true. It won't
so
be off
hopefully
for-
we'll be able to have it completely dried before we put the cover back on.
Yeah.
That we won't come home, or maybe that's just something we'll do. We'll just wait for a dry period so that the trailer's not soaking wet when we put the cover back on it after a trip.
That's a good point. So hopefully every time that we do put it back on there, we've got a dry trailer instead of having to deal with anything damp or what have you. So anyway, we'll take this, see how easy it is to take off, and then we will be done with this one.
Yeah, no, it's nice how they have these straps. Is they completely come off. So when you go to store it, you don't have straps, hanging. You can actually wrap up each individual strap.
So we were able to get it off in less than a minute. We'll just pull out the ladder and then take off the gutter protectors, what have you. Of course, now we have to fold it and get it put away, which is always the pain in the butt, right? It did come with a bag that we can throw it all in, which is nice to store it. Should be it.
Yeah.
It looks like a nice cover.
Yeah, it does.
For what it is, for the price, when we went to Camping World, they're double
Right.
that.
It's nice and thick. We had, like you said, we had no issues when it rained or when we had wind. I was never afraid that it was gonna tear or anything. It's good quality.
So yeah, the question was, should you get a cover or not? You can decide that for yourselves. We're happy that we have one now because since we have to park it out here and we get such terrible rain, we're gonna feel a lot more comfortable, especially since we've already had some leak issues on the roof. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll leave a link down below for this specific model, and maybe throw a couple other models of some other covers that are kind of the best sellers out there on the market, and you make a decision on whatever works best for you and go from there. So take care.